Hi, this is the video where I'll be discussing on sequential logging. In the last videos, we had discussed on monopulse tracking, both amplitude comparison monopulse and phase comparison monopulse. So the main logic or the operation behind monopulse tracking was two simultaneous beams were used um, for tracking for one angle coordinate, and four simultaneous beams were used for two angle coordinates, right? Now, so the main difference between monopulse tracking and the second part of the syllabus, which constitutes sequential logging and conical scan, is here in sequential logging and conical scan we have uh, uh, we have a single beam which is time shared. Okay, so we are time sharing a single antenna beam to obtain the angle measurement in sequential manner. Okay, so time sharing a single antenna beam is easier because it uses lesser equipments than having more simultaneous beams as in monopulse tracking. But the only problem is the accuracy might be lesser than the monopulse tracking method. So let us see what is sequential logging. So this is the figure which you will see in the textbook. So here you can see solid line, that is the solid beam shows the position of the beam in one time, that is let us say t1, and the same beam is going to be switched to position 2 at some other time t2. Okay. So what we do is we compare the two signals received at two different times, and then we decide on which is closer to the target. So for one angle coordinate, the lobe switching. So this is called as lobe, right? So this lobe switching happens uh, at two different positions, maybe right and left. Okay, so if you need both azimuth and elevation location, we have to have not only in right and left, we also need to have it in up and down positions. That is in four different tracking positions. Okay, so the figure here shows only two positions, which means it is only one angle coordinate. Okay. Now the other names for sequential lobing are lobe switching, or it is also called as sequential switching. So the three names which you can see for the same process is lobe switching, sequential switching, or sequential lobing. Okay. So here in this figure A, you can see the polar representation of the antenna beam in the two switched positions, right? The same is shown in this figure, that is, which is in rectangular coordinate system. Now the error signal which is obtained from the target, which is not located on the switching axis, right? So this is the switching axis. So as we saw the bore side direction, so in monopulse tracking, we had two simultaneous beams, right? Not the switched version. So two simultaneous beams, and the crossover between the two simultaneous beams was called as bore side. So here we don't have simultaneous beams, right? So we don't have bore side, okay? So bore side is only for monopulse tracking. So here we have switching axis. So the axis along which the switching happens. So this is called as the switching axis. Okay. Now the error signal which is obtained from this target is from a target which is not located on the switching axis is shown on this. Okay. So the next figure. Okay. So you can see these are the error signals. So you can see from this figure that the target is actually closer to position 2. That is time 2, T2, right? So here, if this is the target, if you compare the two signals, so this position, so when the beam is in this position, the signal will be having higher strength, correct? So if you plot it here, so this is solid shows the position 1, that is at time t1. The next one shows the position 2 at time t2. Dashed ones, right? So you can see the dashed ones are having higher amplitude. Y-axis is amplitude, x-axis is t. So this is T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, correct? So this is only one angle coordinate, right? This is same beam keeps switching in two different positions all the time. You can see always the position 2 has higher amplitude. So we conclude that the target is closer to the second beam, correct? So second location of the switched beam. Okay. So this is how the error signal would be obtained. Okay. So the difference in amplitude between these two voltages obtained in these two switched positions is the measure of the angular displacement of the target from the switching axis. Okay. So how far? So what is the angular displacement from the switching axis? So here, this much. Okay. Fine. So the direction in which the target has to be moved. Sorry, the direction in which the beam has to be moved okay, to bring the target on this switching axis. So you can call it as bore sight, but it is not the bore sight what we saw in monopulse tracking. So the direction in which we have to move this beam to bring the target on this bore sight is found by observing which beam position has larger signal. So here we have to move this position towards this side. Okay, fine. So when this echo signals in the two beam positions are equal, okay, so suppose the signal received in this position and this position both are equal, then we conclude that the target is on the axis, that is the switching axis. Okay. Now, so this is for one angle coordinate. So if we need two angle measurement, that is, this is one left right. Suppose this is left right. So if you need the measurement angle measurement in orthogonal coordinate, that is up and down, then we need two additional switching positions, not beams. Okay, just switching positions. Okay. So two-dimensional sequential lobing radar might have 4 feed horns, okay, illuminated by a single reflector antenna. So a reflector antenna is just an example of the antenna which could be used for this sequential lobing. So if you are using a reflector antenna, that is parabolic reflector antenna, we need 4 feed horns. So only a single antenna is used here with 4 feed horns, which is able to switch in 4 different positions. Okay, so this is arranged in such a way that first it switches from right to left and then up and down. Okay, so right, left, up, down, again right, left, up, down. This would be the position switching. Okay, so the same things are written here. The difference in amplitude between voltages obtained in two switched positions is a measure of, correct? So there are two switched positions, and then we see the difference in amplitude between the two positions, and that difference is a measure of angular displacement of the target from the switching axis. So we have to see which beam position has larger signal. So for two additional switching beams, that is for two angle coordinate measurements, we need 4 feed horns. The next two beams should be in the orthogonal coordinate. So this is one figure which shows, this is not there in the textbook, but it shows the same thing. So here it is one angle coordinate. So time t1 we have lobe A, time t2 the same beam is going to be switched at time t2 to this position. So if the target is along the switching axis, that means that lobe A and lobe B both are going to get the same amplitude signal, correct? Yeah, so like this. So you can see this is the rectangular coordinate version. So this is the switching axis, and you can see the target is along the switching axis. So in that case, both these beams are, both these switching positions of the single beam are going to get the same amplitude. If you get the same amplitude echo signal, we conclude that the target is along the switching axis or the bore side. Okay. So this is the scenario for one angle coordinate. So if we need two angle coordinate, we need 4 switching positions. So right, left, up, down, right, left, up, down. So it goes in this manner. So azimuth as well as elevation. Okay. So in case we need the central feed for transmission, okay, then we can use 5 feed horn. Okay, so that is only if we need a central feed for transmission. Okay, so for central feed would be used for transmission, and the 4 outer feeds would be used for reception on a sequential basis. In such a scenario, only in such a scenario we can use 5 feed horns. Okay, so but usually when we use two angle coordinates, the usual horns are, the number of horns used are 4. Okay. Now, so this is another figure which explains the logic of sequential lobing. You can see this is position of beam in time 1. Okay, and this is the position of beam in time 2. So if the target is along the switching axis, then the amplitude obtained in beam A, B is A, B, beam. Beam A and beam B is going to be same. Okay. Now, if the target is not along the switching axis, or you can call it as tracking axis, then you find that beam. So this signal, so this is closer to position A, right? So the signal which is received at this position would be more, correct? No. So you can see the amplitude at beam A would be higher than that of beam B. Okay, so this is far, so the signal received would be less. Clear? Received, okay, this is not the transmitted version. So this is received. So echo signal received by this beam is having lesser amplitude than that at this position. Okay, so this is the sequential lobing principle. Okay. So in sequential lobing system, the pulse might be transmitted and received when the beam is squinted to right. Again, the beam is squinted up. and then to the left, and then to the down, then to down. Okay, so left, up, right, down. So yeah, here. So it could be right, up, left, down, right, up, left, down, like this. So it could be like this. So you can see it almost follows a circular pattern. Okay, but then it is not exactly circular because it is only four switched positions, right? So if you closely observe this, since it has to move like this and like this, right? Right, up, left, down, and then again the same process. You can see uh, with this type of scanning for a while, it must have been obvious that the four horns and the RF switches, right, for these four positions. These four horns and RF F switches could be replaced by a single feed that is that is single feed from a single antenna. Okay, single feed from a single antenna that is radiating a single beam squinted off axis. Okay, off axis in the sense if this is the switching axis, the beam would be squinted. Squinted in the sense it is pointing to some other location. Okay, so see this. So reflected signal from the target received in each of the four lobes is routed via channel switching assembly, sequentially switched into the receiver. So in this way, we have four lobe returns is measured, and then error signals are derived to move the antenna. So if you need the central feed for transmission and the rest four feeds for reception, then we use 5 feet horn. And this is the usual movement, right, up, left, down, and then again the same. So usually this four horns and RF switches could be replaced by a single feed. That's what I was telling now. Single feed that radiates in a single beam squinted off axis. So one antenna, 1 second. So it could be like this. So we have a parabolic reflector antenna. So sequential lobing is we have four different feeds which are switching to four different locations, right? So instead of having four different locations, you can have, if this is the axis, okay, you can have one feed which is became squinted off axis and it is giving you a beam like this. Okay, so this squinted feed is continuously rotating like this. Okay, like this. So this beam keeps rotating for angle measurement in 2 dimensions. Okay, so instead of using these four feeds, you can use a single feed which is squinted off axis and then which is continuously rotating. And this process is called as conical scan. Okay, so that's the main difference between sequential lobing and conical scan. Okay, fine. So I just explained the principle of sequential lobing and then how we conclude how conical scan is better than the sequential lobing principle. Okay. So in the next video, we'll discuss on exactly what is conical scan and the block diagram for the same. Okay, thank you.